Give him. Thank you, Money Corner Watch. You go tap in and listen in. You know what I
Good
mean?
job, brother. Great job. You did an excellent job. Thank you for that.
Definitely. Oh, by the way, Ish, if you don't know, he did this every Sunday with
Appreciate
us
that.
because he gives us the time to give us that Money Corner information about anything we try to find out about that he knows about. He's the man we go to. I'm gonna give a
That's
shout
what's
out
up.
to him once again. Money Corner, Master Ether, each and every Sunday, top of the hour, 9 o'clock. But when we do special guests like this, Ishmael, Bay, you've been in the game consciously for a minute, talking on major topics we're dealing with our people. You know what I'm saying? On all the different phases. I'm gonna say that you know what I mean? From
Right.
Kemet to now Aborigines, you covering a lot of ground. You know what I'm saying? And you know a lot of these people that we're speaking on names and everything like that. You know what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
I want to make sure that people understand that about you. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and give people before we go into our conversation tonight a little background on yourself. And then we're gonna go into our conversation first. So I'm gonna respect you out of that. Salute you for coming on the platform with us tonight. And tell everybody about yourself, what you got going on and your past, and do your
Yes,
thing.
sir. I appreciate it, brother.
You
Yeah,
go.
born and raised in Syracuse, New York. You know, basically been in service to the people since 1982. Had a knowledge of self. First starting off as a 5%er, and then from that, just coming up, and then also after going into the military, I got out and joined the Nation of Islam. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was a minister of the Nation of Islam for a little over a decade. Me and my family ended up going in there, and while I was in the Nation of Islam, I was the assistant minister of Mosque number 75 in Las Vegas, where I live at now, under Minister Duke Muhammad. And while in the minister's class, I got the opportunity to serve under the Honorable Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad.
Wow.
I was fortunate enough to be brought into his inner circle of those that he could trust. And his son, Dr. Farrah Gray, was a child at that time, but we would pick up Dr. Khalid and take him to his son whenever he come through town, either coming from Los Angeles or coming from New York, taking him to come and see his son. As well as just over the years, just having a really good relationship with him. So they recognized me as one of Khaled's men. So me and my spiritual sibling, the attorney, Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, definitely salute to Attorney
Salute to him too.
Shabazz. Um, Make sure you get his book, The Book of Khalid. It's available on
Yeah, he did just
Amazon.
drop that.
He did. He did. He dropped the book. It's a wonderful book. I'm talking about like it's a masterpiece. So make sure that the people get that. I'm in the book. It deals with aspects of just all of our different paths, but it just gives you college representation. From his perspective, and it's very, very good. So after that, again, yes, as you accurately stated, I'm the co-founder of the Amin Ra Squad.
Right.
Myself and brother Ankh, we started the Amin Ra Squad to just put together and pool together a group of scholars that were made to combat Ivy League um,
Ivy
type
League.
of type of miseducation. So we wanted to make sure we could put together a team of scholars that could deal with all aspects of African history that can rival and defeat Ivy League education.
Mm-hmm.
So after doing that, I then started off my branch of the Amon Ra Squad, which is called Amon Ra Squad African Moorish Scholarship. And this is all just a part of the journey of this 40 years of service. So right now, the incarnation is bringing us back home. I happen to come from a background of having African and indigenous lineage, which is traced through the Muskogee or Creek Nation.
Yep.
We have our family homestead that we've owned in Alabama since the 1800s, and a well-known documented Creek Indian history.
Yep.
Um,
Facts.
so with that, this is where we're at right now, bringing it all home and dealing with the United Nations by my information as having knowledge of the law as a Moorish American, but also the history of indigenous. It comes together, and that's where we're at today, family.
And that's why I had to have you on here because we have a connection always through the Muskegee, on the clubhouse.
Right.
You know what I mean? Being that the Muskegee connection is there, and we got I ain't gonna lie to you, man. We've known each other for a while. I say this publicly and privately behind the screen because I'm not a fake person. You know what I mean? I just try to debate with you back in the day. I didn't get
Right.
on YouTube, but on our Facebook, you know what I'm saying? I used to come at you and be like, so why this? After watching your video, so I used to be the one asking you questions. So why you say that? You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
just me. You know, that's how I am. But
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
but now that I get to talk to you, especially on this platform called Clubhouse, I keep doing Clubhouse. Say shout outs because you get to meet people in a different way, like how I met you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On Facebook, I give credit to the Clubhouse because Facebook gives you a whole nother impression, like text messaging versus calling somebody and really getting it, really go back and forth the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Very true, family. Very true. Yes, sir.
That's the
Yep.
difference. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
through the Clubhouse app, you get a chance to actually talk to people on a longer period of time. It's not just a soundbite or a post. You're actually talking
Right.
to people for 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours or more, and you get a chance to really understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, from everything, from like
Yeah.
just the emotional, what's the whole status of the mind when they talk to you. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So me and you have been sharing a platform, and you know it's been lit. We've been
Yeah.
lit on Clubhouse. You know we've been lit on Clubhouse for a minute now, and
Yeah.
things is picking up, and people are starting to see this movement that me and you're talking about tonight. And in a minute, the website. Can you shout out the website? We're gonna pull it up for you. We can make it just the website, and anything else you want to, or if you want to, you can share it yourself. I know it's your website. If you want to navigate through it, I want you to pull up your website so we can go directly to that because you are, you know, what I mean, I guess I want to make sure everybody knows what the movement you're doing right now before we go into the topic for the night. You know what I mean, at 10 o'clock we're gonna go straight in for the hour till 11, and we're gonna be going straight in on this information. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I posted it on the back chat. It's just firsttribenation.com. Again,
FirstTribeNation.com.
firsttribenation.com.
You want us
And
to pull it up for you though? Can we
yeah,
pull it up for you?
if you can
All right,
pull it up,
no problem. We're gonna
um,
pull it up for you. First Nation, First Tribe. Excuse me.
firsttribenation.com. Yes,
Got
sir.
it. Got it. We're gonna pull it up for you. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to just go through it because of what you do, and because again, if people didn't hear it earlier, anybody that tapped in a little bit late, Ishmael Bey, um, co-founder of Amaru Scott, has done many debates. Sunday the channel, which we was on a couple on Friday night. But shout out to Top Cats and
Yeah.
shout out to Top Cats, Big Chief. You know what I'm saying? And his debate with Rabon the other night. You know what I mean? Just before we go in, because that's been an event for the weekend. That's like the conscious fight for the weekend, right? Like
That's right.
it's
That's
like
like
the big
little.
leagues.
That's right. That's like a Mayweather sneak peek.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like it's about to go down in the conscious community if you're keeping up with that side of what's going on. So again, though, this is your website. Bring it back down though, so you can start from the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's first tribe Aboriginals dealing with that aspect of those of us who have an African history that's merged with the indigenous history that's here, and we have to understand that that represents millions and millions of us. It isn't just a fictional tale. Many times when grandma's sitting here telling you that we have Indian in our family, we have to understand that we have a right, an indigenous right to this land, just like anyone else. But so often people only recognize the fact that either you look mongoloid or either you're European and mongoloid, then you're accepted as being Native American or indigenous. However, you cannot negate or ignore the fact that there's an African element of those of us who are indigenous. So as you look through each one of the different articles, you have that one that says the American Aboriginal slavery over 3 times more than the African slave trade. So you take your time and you simply click on that and you get the information that, listen, when you look at the statistical numbers of the amount of slaves that left Charleston, South Carolina, there were over 3 times as many indigenous people that left Charleston than there was African people being brought into that area. So
Right.
this is information that the public needs to know. Statistically, we can prove the fact that more indigenous people left this land than they say Africans were brought into this land. So this is the way that we break that down. And the different articles break down the other different aspects of that history.
I'm glad you said that. So now click on one of the links real quick. Take them into something real quick. Let's see. He got a
Yeah,
nice
click on that one right
layout.
there. Click on that one
Click
right
on
there. Yeah.
something real quick so we can just
First,
go into what he got going on.
first Australian Aborigines are Africans. This is very key because the statistics are proving that there are more than one population of Native Americans.
Yes.
We're saying that there's an element of Native Americans that came the traditional route that you're taught, that come over the ice bridge, Siberia, came from that way, Alaska, and then came down. But now they're admitting that there was another aspect of those who came from Australia and the different islands, Papua New Guinea, etc. And then they came to the Americas too. And they're an older population than the Mongoloids. So I'm going and cutting to the chase. In other words, if we're playing spades, I'm going to pull out the big joker and slap it on the table and say, now what's up? Because now I'm proving the fact that even the first Australians are African. And it's not my words that's saying it. I'm going to the top scholarship and invite the people to read for themselves. I give them the information. I give them the direct quotes. I give them the link so that they can click on the link and pull up the information themselves. So it's a one-stop shop of defense of our people.
Now, you know, this term African, right? What term do you feel is older? African or Aboriginal? Because, see, based off my understanding of the word, and we're going to go to a biblical understanding of this word. I'm going to bring it up in a minute, but I just want to ask you that first before we go throughout your website, because I'm going to let you present the website, right? Because these are the questions I'm going to ask you tonight in our conversation somewhat of what we already did already on a regular basis, right? Because we talk all the time.
Right.
But just for the people to know so we can engage on that level for everybody that's publicly listening to on Music Media Lounge, through our different channels we have from Facebook to also mixcloud.com, which is our exclusive channel that you can listen to music and everything right now live, how we doing it right now. So again, which one's older? What term do you think is older?
I would say when I invite you to come into my world and when I invite you to come into what we're dealing with, we are first tribe Aboriginal.
Okay.
We're not first tribe African. But what we're saying is that we are the people and the original Africans are Aboriginal.
Okay, all right. Now you said it like that. I get that. You know what I mean? Because we describe, just like how Moors, African, Negro, Moor, Indian, Moor, Negro, these all words are kind of synonymous based off of documentation from the Portuguese to the Spanish, you know what I mean, to the Dutch, to the Germans that came in with a missionary situation. When you read historical documentation from the Jesuits to the, you know what I mean, we can go down the line.
Correct.
I emptied a whole clip on the Moravians about a month ago. You was there for the event. You
Yes,
know what I'm
sir.
saying?
Yes.
I mean, I emptied a whole clip on the Moravian Trail in the AME Church. You know what I'm saying? Though that's already been laid out. You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
So I'm gonna bring it back for the public, but right now I just have to make sure that's known so that we understand that the Afro situation is not older than the term Aboriginal.
Correct.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So go ahead, brother. I want
Right.
to make sure I'm going. I want to skip that part. I want to because we're gonna go into some juicy shit in a minute. So go ahead, brother. What else you got going on with this right here with the
Yeah. So
website?
yeah, so on the website, like I said, if you click onto the other, pages that are on there, they're gonna all give you different aspects of us proving our positions of who we are. So the one above that was dealing with the skulls. The older skulls were identified as coming back to us. So these are not my claims. These are the top archaeologists and anthropologists that have dug up the bones and they've proven that these particular bones, and I'm giving you the exact quotes, are the Australians or the sub-Saharan African structure of these bones. They've measured them, they've compared them, and this is their assessment of the claim that they're making. If you go to other parts that you can click on the website, it's all going to give you different aspects of us proving our position that we cannot be ignored. Because what happens is that people, again, the reason why we use the logo that I wear on my shirt right here is
Right. Hot
because
shirt. Hot shirt.
they call it El Negro.
El Negro.
That's what they call it. You feel
Right.
me?
That's what they said.
I call it El Moro, but they
El
call it
Moro.
El Negro. When you go to the museum and see it, that's what they call it. So in other words, you can't ignore the fact that this element is ancient, it's here, and it's indigenous to here. So that's why we use this specific logo, because those are the names that they call them, and we know that we have that element here.
Facts. Now, I back you up on that. We know that already. We know that already. I see the term first tribe Aboriginal. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you know, I'm going to talk to you now about the term that I've been using. And I know some people have been coming at me about the term, but I think most people can relate when I say Aboriginal American. You know what I'm saying? I say
Right.
Aboriginal American because it covers, I think, well, as a native, I'm a native.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what my shit say when they pull me over. I'm native. So at the end of the
Right.
day, um, I'm a dark skinned native. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And Martin Luther King in the civil rights movement, which was originally the Indian rights movement, when he addressed something that happened in Alabama with some dark skinned natives, children that was being discriminated riding a bus, put in this book of 1963, the book he wrote. You know what I mean? I can't remember it. I'm gonna pull it up in a minute. I'm gonna figure that out. I'm gonna make sure I get sources for everything I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know how I am, Ish. You know, I
Yes.
ain't gonna just say some stuff. If I don't
Right.
know, I can't find you the source of what I'm saying. You know what I
Yes, sir.
mean?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. I'm
Yes,
just
sir.
letting you know. So some people think I be just
And
freestyling.
that is a factual history. The specific tribe was the Porch Creek Indians. The Porch Creek Indians of Alabama. In fact, they're the only federally recognized tribe in Alabama today. They
Right.
called Martin Luther King because the dark-skinned, the Black Creek Indians were not allowed to ride the buses with even the whiter skinned Creek Indians or the white people. They called for Dr. King to come, and he responded to the Porch Creek Indians. And I know that for a fact because I have family members that are members of the Porch Creek Indians.
And I know that. See what I'm saying? That's why you can verify not only from a see when genealogy, because we talk about in our groups on Clubhouse and the people that you see come into our groups, these are people that do genealogy. They're
Right.
really strong on a niche. They're not into like no religion. You know what I'm saying? And these people are really tracing their roots. They can tell you who their third great grandma was and what tribe she came on and the patent land that they actually got assisted to them at a certain time. You going, am I lying? You heard
No,
of
that's
this?
a fact.
This is facts. So
Right.
that's why I look at it like how the Autonomous Party has these rooms and we have these conversations with these type of people that are bringing this type of information to the forefront. You know what I mean? And you're hearing it firsthand, like I'm hearing it. You know what I'm saying? God of Green hearing it, right? Am I
Yes,
lying?
sir.
This is factual stuff we seeing. This is real
Right.
time. Today, yesterday. This is every
Facts.
day. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? People coming like we at church pool. I have a testimony. Yes, my great grandma was in Mississippi and she was in Choctaw country in 1845 and she was a Choctaw on the roads. That's how that shit be coming up. Real talk.
Yes, it do. Yes, it do.
Am I
Exactly.
lying?
That's a
So,
fact.
all right. And
True.
this is people that look like us that's
Right.
finding this in their paperwork when they go do their search, genealogy wise. And this is the Aboriginal conversation that we're having right now. Because that's who the dark skinned Indian would be described as the Aboriginal.
That's
Malcolm
correct.
X said that, right? In the same
Right.
time frame when Martin Luther King was alive.
Right.
He came back from Mecca and said, "You are Aborigine." And the only people that can be an Aborigine is the black folk. Black folk are described, but you don't want to be called an Aborigine because you want to be called black folk. But really, you're an Aborigine. And did I say that somewhat right? How you said it?
Yeah. Yeah. He's dealing with that topic of us being the Aboriginal people in the context of us being the original people from Africa to the Americas. And he said that yes, you have to be. There are no white Aboriginals, and that's a
White Aborigine,
correct.
right? So that's a distinctive, like, because I'm not going to ignore that based off the word America. See, people get technical, and I don't like semantics. You know what I'm saying? So the word America and the people that established what we call today America, 1776, going into 1865 with the Emancipation Proclamation, run down that whole little line, right? But when
Right.
we really understand the native people that were here before America, like you just said earlier, yeah, we could say that there was a person that was Mongolian looking or Siberian or what we call today, you know what I mean? Like what they call today the Native American. He could have definitely been here before America was established as far as a country and as a government. But that don't mean he came here first
That's
or
correct.
established civilizations here first.
That's correct.
And that's been knocked out for a reason. Like that's been really deliberately discriminated against for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm gonna pull
Yes.
up something real quick. Can we pull up one of the things I got? We put it on the screen. We're gonna pull up a couple of things that I've come across dealing with the Aboriginal conversation we having tonight. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I
Mhm.
just want to just have a conversation. We put some things on the screen so people can see what I'm seeing, and me and you just have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Because the Aboriginal conversation that I think a lot of people are ignoring is factually here for us to understand what it really is.
Yes,
Which
sir.
one you gonna pull up first?
One of these first.
Yeah, pull up. Yeah, the dictionary, law dictionary. Pull up that one. We're gonna pull up the Bouvier's law dictionary of Aboriginal and Indian tribe and all that. It
Yes, sir.
shows how it says Aboriginal. Obviously, I mean you already understand what that word means. Enlarge, yeah, enlarge, large. Can you pull down? Can you pull down? No, not letting you do it. Right? No, you're gonna have to squeeze it down for me to read the top. There, yeah, you had it. One more time. Now stay right there. No. I can read it too. Right there. All right, perfect. So the Bouvier's Law Dictionary. It says native. All persons without regard to the place of their birth who were born before the Declaration of Independence, who were in their country at the time it was made, and who yielded a deliberate assent to it, either expressed or implied, as remaining in the country or considered natives. So this whole word native, by the way, as I said before, is going to people that were here before the United States, the Declaration was even considered being, you know what I'm saying, established. I mean, it was a lot of different people in the country and a lot of things that happened before the Declaration of Independence took place in 1776. Then we had the French colonies, you had the Spanish colonies, you had the British colonies. You know what I'm saying? You had a
Right.
lot of different things going on. The Plain Indians, you had the Mississippian people, you had the Creek. You know what I mean? You had all these different situations going on. And I don't think people know in detail that complexity of all the different origins of people that were here that would be native, meaning pre-Columbian. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Pre-Columbian, not only pre-Columbian, but definitely pre-Declaration of Independence. You see what I'm saying when I say
Absolutely.
that? Like, come on,
Absolutely.
man. Like, that's even a gap. Like,
Right.
pre-Columbian is 1492. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Pre-United States of America is 1776.
Correct.
So we got to, and that's before 1619 project, by
Mm-hmm.
the way, too.
Right. Right.
Make sure
Right.
I state that fact for them, because some people like to go straight to 1619 and say, oh, that's when the British came in. And that was their situation. And their situation don't cover what the Portuguese and the Spanish and the Dutch did way before them.
Or the
They
French.
came late.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so we're going to go down a little bit. Scroll down, please. God, agree. I appreciate you. Scroll down. Let me get down to this. I want to read this, guy. I found this after I read this in the room. You was in the room actually when I read it, and I wanted to make sure that I read the whole thing because I ain't being biased. The information I find and I'm putting up on screen. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yes,
And
sir.
keeping it real. So it says the truth behind the hidden stolen identity so-called African Americans who inhabited America's North, South, and Central, Middle, Lower socioeconomic communities, ghettos, slums, or impoverished neighborhoods is that scripture explorers, colonizers, archaeology, and the history agree that made the so-called African American bloodline trace back to the Ibirith Israelite. Now this is obviously from some Hebrew Israelite brothers that brought this up using these definitions. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
Um, people in antiquity and pretentious of Shem. See, they got Shem in here.
Right.
Go up, pull up for me, please. If we don't hire, we find things for how they pull up things. Everybody find things. We gonna use the meat. We gonna eat the meat and spit out the bone part. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So now it said the northern tribes of Israel, as well, people aforementioned, confirmed the first encounters there too, original origin Americans, as Mr. Webb ascribed in 1828. Now, when we get to 1828, we know the definition of 1828 goes to the American. And that's what this is going to go to. You know what I'm saying? That the original American, based off the English definition, because obviously this is later on, they describe the European, right? It says the European in that definition
Right.
that took on the word American was not originally the American, but he encountered the copper-colored indigenous person when he came here, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's skip to. We're gonna go up a little bit. See if there's anything else. Is there any meat in that? Because really, just the definition at first. Go to the next one.
All right.
And again, this follows the pattern that the European has always done. Examples of that is when Scipio Africanus defeated the Afar people in northern Africa. Scipio Africanus then took on the name of that which he conquered. His family's name is Scipio, but he took on the name Africanus after he defeated the African people. So that's typical of how the European operates. The Mississippi people, the Alabama people, they wave the flag and say that they're Alabama, but we know who the original Alabama people are. So it's in their pattern.
Right. So now you see, as I just brought up 1828, this would be the definition right here from 1828, pertaining to American, Native of America, originally applied to Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by Europeans, are now applied to the descendants of Europeans in America. But who were the first Europeans, Ish? Who were those people that came and set up the 13 colonies that we're calling Europeans? Were they not swarthy? Were they not copper?
Yes.
It was swarthy, right?
That's correct.
So why is it that the mixture of the people that actually established these 13 colonies that went up the East Coast, right? Why are they not being described as swarthy, Negroish, basically? I'm gonna call them, or blackamoors, or Moors. Why are they not being described in their proper stance? The Europeans that came. Why is it not King James and Duke of York not being described in their proper stature, being that they're the ones that came in and set up colonies here and mixed in with the copper-colored people that were here when they came and mixed in?
Very good point. And even when you look at the Virginia laws, one of the major cases of interracial marriage was what was called the Loving case. And in the Loving case, if you look on the surface of it, they promote it as a black and white couple that got married and changed the law. But in actuality, as you look and see who the lady was, she was a Native American. The public thinks that she's black, but she was actually from a Native American tribe and was a Native American. But yet, like I said, they don't tell you the details of the Loving case. She was an indigenous American.
Okay. See this. Scroll up real quick. Is there anything else in your meat here for me to pull up? Like I said, this is clips. This is clips. All right, cool. The etymology. It's native Indian right there. See etymology. Native. All right, bet. In reference to Aboriginal peoples, which goes back to copper-colored people again. I mean, I try to get to the root of the things. Assessed in 1900s as the name of the journal devoted to Indian education. Say it again. Native Indian, in reference to the Aboriginal peoples of America, is attested by C. You see the C. 1900s as the name of a journal devoted to Indian education. In the early 1970s, activist Indians began calling themselves Native Americans from the POT using Native American. Can you move a little bit? Scroll up so everybody can see what I'm looking at. That's it? Okay, cool. That's cool. By the way, shout out to the PO people out there. They was doing that ghost dance. I'm telling you, Ghost Clan. I'm talking that shit all night about Ghost Clan. Ghost dance is coming.
That's right.
Yeah, I can't give it all away right now. But little fun with it though. I'm telling you, there's some shit popping right now. It's getting ready to come through. What happened?
So that's the rest of it right there.
So yeah, that's the rest of it. All right. So basically, just to give you the bottom of the line. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm throwing some things on the page for everybody that's watching what we're doing right now, just to show how things. By the way, like I said, that's why I mentioned the ghost dance, because it said early about the POT people, the PO using Native American Church Incorporated in 1918 in Oklahoma. And it was the ghost dance religion, you know what I'm saying, that came about in the late 1800s, that a lot of the tribes, even though they were dealing with the religious situation, they were still like incorporating their native roots from all the different tribes. And they would do a certain ceremonial dance, which is attributed to the term ghost dance. You know what I'm saying? So, being that we call ourselves BSB, Baron Soundy Brothers, and people think that's spooky. I feel like that would be a perfect, correlation to go ahead and be like, we the Ghost Clan. It's a little Aboriginal joke, but
I like that.
it is what it is. In the Latin language of ecclesiastics and the royalty of the time, the people or children of God and the Spaniards often referred to the Aboriginal indigenous translates freely as Los Niños de la Indio. This is where you come back, Pete, because I already talked to you about this. You speak French. You speak French, right?
Been a while.
Endeo. What's that mean? In French.
En Dieu. Like in God.
In God.
Yeah.
Right? In French.
Yeah.
Endeo. Right?
Yeah. Well, Indio, but it will be spelled differently in French.
Right.
So en Dieu would be in God.
In God.
Yeah.
All right. So make sure. Just just because they're looking at it, make sure people know that somebody that speaks certain languages know that correlates to the same thing. So I'm not, I speak English. I don't even know that language. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. I mean, real. So this is Los Inos de la Indios, more literally, children of God. And then it has EN, and then it says DE, and it has the O. And it has in parentheses and bars, it says freely of God. You know what I'm saying? I feel like in my culture, we would say Yacht Seminole. But I get what they're saying, though. Because they're free people of God, living in the ways of God, naturally speaking, laws of the land, and keeping everything in the union. Now, I understand that. People, hold on, before you pull back, please. I just want to read these things to you, Ish, before we go in, right? We're going to go freestyle in a minute. I just want to leave these things on the table so people know that what we're talking about. That's how you said Aboriginal. You see what it says, land, sea, or people in the world were named India prior to 1492? So what you think about that, Ish? That part right there, India, prior to 1492. Why is that not being talked about the people that they're talking about and describing that were here in the continent, what we call today America? I can give a lot of names to it based off whatever, background you might come from, but they all correlate to us being the lost people of the world and then now being the new world. But we're now described as Indios. Can you give me a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I would invite the people to get the book, The American Discovery of Europe. Again, the book is called The American Discovery of Europe. This is by Dr. Jack D. Forbes. And Dr. Forbes, he supplies the exact quote from Columbus's logs, where Columbus says that when he got to Hispaniola and saw the natives there, he admitted in his journal that he saw them over in Europe, over in Galloway, Ireland. And he said, those are the people that I saw in Galloway, Ireland. Before he ever came to this region, he saw the Indians over there. So he identified, this is stuff that they don't talk about. But again, in the book where he supplies the exact quote from Columbus, it ties it together that there was already this the trans relationship was already taking place. So when he came over here, he was able to identify the people that he saw prior. I'll put it that way.
So what time frame was that he saw prior? Can you give me a time frame?
Yes. When he was in Galloway, Ireland, he was talking about in 1480, I think it was 1482.
1482.
1482, Galloway, Ireland. And again, the exact quote is in the book by Dr. Forbes. So,
I mean, being that if that happened in 1482, they have this thing right here saying 1540s.
Yes.
That's like be like 60 years later. You know what I mean? This is still way before United States of America was established. You know what I'm saying? This is way before even the Spanish had a good stronghold on what we call Central and South America. They still were fighting at that time for certain kingdoms that were here.
Right.
Aztecs would be one of them. You know what I mean? So when you know the timeline, as it says right here, Aboriginal now, person, animal, or plant that has been in a country or region earliest times, 1540s, Aboriginal, considered the correct singular in English from Latin Aborigines to first inhabitants. First inhabitants. So, I mean, and then obviously, autochthon, people sprung up from the earth itself, original inhabitants of a country, as opposed to settlers. And those their descendants will slide up from. Is it more? That's it, right? I probably cut off after that, huh?
Yeah, I think it's one more.
It's cut off after that? All right, don't worry about it. I find it very interesting, though, Ish, before I slide in on anything else, because I really don't have. You have that one last part for me real quick? See if we can put that up. I want to show you this. And then it's going to be.
What, from that or another slide?
Yeah, it's a whole nother slide. It's the white one with the red markers that I found around it. I want to read that real quick. I want him to see that real quick. Yeah, it's just interesting. Doing this up a little bit. I found this,
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I want you to pull up the link, the USC joint. All right? Go straight to that website. So from here, before I go to the website, USC joint, code and everything, I just want to show people that's in our conversation tonight. Before I go into our last 30 minutes of our conversation, I like to pull up stuff. And if it's something you want me to pull up too, we pull it up for you. You know what I'm saying? While we have our conversation. Just let you know we open like that.
Right.
I found this, though, and it says Indian tribe, a separate distinct community or body of the Aboriginal Indian race of men found in the United States. 2. Such a tribe situated within the boundaries of the state and exercise powers in the government and sovereignty, it says here, under the national government, deemed politically a state that is a distinct political society capable of self-government, but is not deemed a foreign state in the sense of the Constitution, is rather a domestic dependent nation. This right here. Now go to the other link for me, please. Because I found this, right? You see all the codes and everything. So I had to go. I was looking for this. When I seen this picture shared, when you see stuff like this, you be like, no, I got to find a source. Let me go try to dig and find something that correlates to where this person shared this. That's how I like to dig them out. You share something like that, I'm going to go find out where I can go see where I can see a real source of information that kind of correlates that we can really use in a manner. You know what I mean? That proves the point of what you put out. That's the Muskegee. That's the Gullah shit. That's the Gullah. That's the Gullah one. It should be a regular website link.
Oh, okay.
Just the USC link. Yeah, that's it. That's the Gov joint. The .gov. That's it. Yes, sir. Click on that. I'm doing pretty good on time tonight. Ishmeal, you got me on time tonight. See, you got me on my best behavior.
That's progress. That's good, King.
Yeah, man. I mean, honestly and truly, I appreciate you coming on either way and just vibing with us like this. Because I feel like right now we're in a time that people really need to understand. And for a person from your background, having actually real lineage, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people don't know your debate background, you know what I'm saying? So that's why you coming on here and telling people that you come from this background, being a co-founder of things. You can talk about a whole bunch of African stuff all day, Ish. You have that background to talk about Moorish or African stuff.
Correct.
But the fact that you actually can prove that you have a tie to the Aboriginal tribes, Indian tribes that were here indigenously, that were dark skinned, genealogy wise, is crazy. See what I'm saying? That's what makes it a unique conversation, because a lot of people don't think that somebody even your state with the last name Bay could be understanding your Aboriginal tie to the land. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's true, and that's what makes it relevant. You talking about African history, you can pontificate those topics as long as you like, but unless you can tie it into what makes it relevant here, that's really what it's all about.
It's not showing me. I don't think they can see it. I can't see it. If you got it open, click the link for me.
I can see the link.
You can see everything?
I can see that it says the subject that he's about to click on.
Right. But we can't. He has it open on his screen. I'm trying to tell him that we can't see it to the public. Like the public can't see what he got on his screen. So I'm to make sure.
Okay.
that we got that before I open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it very interesting because your ancestor. I'm gonna let you speak now. Yeah, I see it now. I see it now. So you see what it says here, right? United States Code, right? Hold on. Keep at the top so people can see the source. Source. Always great to people see the source. You know what I mean? 25 USC. This is United States Code. This is the 2001 edition. All right, so it's old. It's nothing new. Title 25 Indians. Chapter 14 Miscellaneous. Subchapter Catawba. You see that?
Right.
See it say Catawba? Indian tribe. South Carolina, restoration of federal trust relationship. You see the key words in these things?
Right.
Trying to give you a little clues. It's just the USC code now. Now we're gonna come down. Go up a little bit. We can go past the first part. Start right there. You see where it says at the top with the codes, ratification of prior transfers, extinguishment of aboriginal title, rights and claims. This is aboriginal.
Right.
No. You know what I mean? The description is aboriginal. And as you, in our conversation tonight, already has said that you can't be, you can't be a native and aboriginal and not be dark skinned. Am I right?
Correct. It's a prerequisite.
I mean, am I lying? Like, am I tripping right now?
No,
am I tripping when I say this? I don't want nobody to get mad at me.
It's simple science. It's simple science.
Okay. I mean,
if we're talking about the biology of human beings, within the human being, you have dominant and recessive traits. Right. So in other words, if you are of a recessive trait, meaning a lighter skin, you cannot physically produce myself. It's impossible for two Caucasians to produce me. So it's impossible for you to be Aboriginal or AKA my father because you cannot physically create me. I have to be Aboriginal because within my genetic makeup, I can prove that two people, my complexion, with no interaction with Europeans, can indeed produce a blonde hair, blue-eyed baby that is non-albino. They have created even two Nigerians. There's a recent one, not too long ago, where two Nigerians created a blonde hair, blue-eyed baby that was non-albino. That was our complexion. So in other words, if you cannot physically produce me and I can physically produce you, then I am the Aboriginal one.
I like how everybody got that. Anybody else?
That's as simple as it gets.
on Mother's Day, by the way, since you say that we might be the father of the race, it's like us being the patriarch of the world, because we as men, right, can go have sex and have a child or whatever the case might be. I ain't trying to be rude on this day. Rude, excuse my language, if you like that word. But you can have interactions with other races, and that race now, because of your interaction with them as a male Aboriginal, it would change how their child will come out, right? But we, as Aboriginals, have to give honors to our mother because our mother is what attaches us to being who we are. Does that make sense? See what I'm saying?
That is correct. Yeah.
Like as a male, I could go, you know what I'm saying? I could go populate a whole other country, right? Yes. As men, another place. But we all root comes back to our mother. You know what I'm saying?
That's correct.
You know what I mean? And obviously, no matter what, on Mother's Day, I'm saying that. No matter what, we know who our mothers is. And that's the root. A male could be an African, right? And he can be dark-skinned and have a child with an Aboriginal native person of America.
Yes.
And that child would still come out like me and you, our complexion.
That's
dark-skinned. Some of our sisters, you know what I mean, come out lighter than us and everything, right? We all different complexions.
Yes.
So that's why I wanted to make sure I just stated that for the record. I ain't trying to beat a horse, but we ride.
And with your title, even just being Aboriginal, there still should be a humble nature within yourself. You saying, "Oh, I'm the father and mother of everything." Well, your children have been ruling you for the last 6,000 years. So make sure that you understand the fact that don't walk around arrogant or supremacist or hateful or boastful, when the reality of this is that we have so much healing and so much harm that's been done to us. we're not in any position to be arrogant. We need to be fixing where we are at and making sure that we can uplift fallen humanity as a whole.
I agree with you. I mean, listen, how can we even, like you said, be walking around ignorant because you know one part of it and know that you ain't been doing none of it right?
Correct.
Titles are nothing but titles.
Yes.
So we have to work to make these titles have respect again, no matter what, in my eyes. Like,
I concur.
all right, so, I only brought these up because I'm only trying to just prove the fact that we both said that Aboriginal has to be a dark-skinned person. We both know that there's Aboriginal people and tribes of the Americas. You know what I'm saying? We know there's Aboriginal people of Creek, Muskegee, such as your ancestors. Do you mind speaking on your ancestors real quick before I go on this part real quick?
Correct. Yeah. I have
House of Kings, by the way.
Alabama, histories. My ancestor is Silas Jefferson of the Muskogee Creek Nation of Oklahoma, House of Kings. Well documented history as far as him being a Creek chief from our homelands of Alabama. On the back chat, I have a post I'd like to have pulled up so we can kind of get some clarity
Pull it up for me, dog. Pull it up
of our Aboriginal history that's acknowledged by the United States, governmental officials. And then we can kind of just unlock that a little bit more, which explains why they call us the Aboriginal people.
Yes, sir. We're gonna do that for you right now.
Yes, sir.
You got the stage right now. It's your stage right now.
I appreciate
what I'm saying? I just want that kind of engage with you first. But this, as we close out, could be out here at 11 o'clock. This last minutes, it's all you.
So that the article there says that Alabama State Senator Beeson apologizes for calling Black people Aborigines. And we need to understand the context of why he called and who he was calling the Aborigines of Alabama. The context of it is, if I may, he was walking through a casino with another Republican person. Now, one of the people that was with him was wearing a wire, an FBI wire, because they were doing a federal investigation on a casino owner. So this senator didn't know that he was bugged. He didn't know that he was on a wire. The other Republican looks around the casino and sees nothing but Black people in the casino. The Republican says, those people are your Indians. That's number one. The Republican looked at all of those Black people in the casino and said, those are your Indians. This Republican here, this senator says, they're not Indians, they're Aborigines. That was his response. So number one, this senator is clarifying the fact that there's a difference between Indians and Aborigines. He's also admitting the fact that we're Aborigines, but he doesn't know that he's being taped while he's saying it. They then hear the tape, and as they make it a public record in court, he has to admit that he said the word, but it was the Negroes of Alabama, the NAACP, the different Negro groups that were offended that he called us Aborigines.
Why is that?
They demanded.
Man, listen here. Hold on real quick, dog. Hold on real quick, dog. I had to stop for a second. I'm trying to bend over. Wait, hold on. Why is it that who is the NAACP?
Yeah.
And why is they telling us that we not the Aboriginals?
What does that stand
lawyers,
for
most
again?
of them, right?
What does that stand for again? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Is that what it is? Yeah, colored people.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
So in other words, the Negroes were offended that this senator called us Aborigines and then said, we so offended, we demand you come before us and apologize, and you never say that again.
Crazy.
So he goes, well, first of all, they said that after they interviewed this senator, this white guy interviews him and says, well, why did you use the word Aborigine? He said, I don't know why I said it. It just came into my head. He couldn't explain it away. He said, I'll tell you what, I'm sorry I said it and I'll never say it again. The Negro said, that's right. You better not never say it again. So in other words, a senator acknowledges that we're the Aboriginal people, not knowing that he's being taped. And these are things that the images or the hardest opposition that you'll find to the Aboriginal identity will be the people that look like you and I. Clearly. Because as soon as the government acknowledges it, who was the first people that was demanding that he apologize and never say it again? It was the Negroes.
What Negro? I'm saying,
the colored Negroes.
What Negro we talking about right now? As recently, one of the trendy things we hear out here saying is all skin folk ain't kinfolk. You know what I'm saying? And some of us got the bloodline mixed either way. You know what I'm saying? This day and time. But, surnames and geology let you see that, for your own manner. We have to deal with that healing part on our own manner. So we're a different type of people at this time with the mixtures that we have, even though we color that we the colored people still. We the mixture still showing up in the Americas of that Aboriginal mix.
Correct. And that's a part of the history as far as what I deal with on the website, the senators that use it and the opposition to that. If we are able to go back to the website right quick, there's a specific
Aboriginal, your website?
Yes, First Tribe, firsttribenation.com.
No problem. Got you.
If we can go back to that and pull up the section on there that says quote, and we'll read what the quote is, because this quote was by a United States president.
Right.
And let's see what the quote says and how it applies to us. Because as you go to the page, you can go on the main home part of it up top, and then you can click over to the part that says, you should go over to the more. Click over to the more part, and then go to the quote. Click onto the quote, please. And as you pull up the quote, it says, what is the temper of feelings between the component parts of our own Southern population, between your Anglo-Saxon, Norman French, and Moorish Spanish inhabitants of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Missouri? What between them all and the Indian savage, the original possessor of the land from which you and I are scourging him already back to the foothills of the Rocky Mountains? What between them all and the Native American Negro of African origin, whom they are holding in cruel bondage? This is a direct quote from President John Quincy Adams at the House of Representatives on the State of the Nation delivered May 25th, 1836. He's acknowledging the fact that these Spanish inhabitant Moors are the native blacks. So why don't they tell you about the Native American Negroes of African origin that are living in Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Arkansas that they're talking about? They don't tell you about this particular history. And these are relevant to us because we are those native blacks that president is talking about. We are those Aboriginal people that senator from Alabama is talking about. We have a right, we have a legal right to know our identity and to move out on that identity. And I'm going to make sure that we're going to get it.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you said it, because I'm standing on that political stance that, I don't like the term African American because I know it don't fit the diaspora of what we call the Aboriginal in America and their experiences in America and their mixtures of America based off of geology. Not no spookism, you know what I mean? This is what we know me and you have seen in the room, just off of, if you call it like a beta test, and I ain't trying to call my people that I've met, and I appreciate meeting all the people, but when you like how apps and shit work, they do a beta test, right? And they make sure that information that you go out and put out, you get, personal information from different people to collect that data to say, okay, this is what I'm correlating is really making sense because the real people I'm talking to are really going through these same experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like analytics and shit like that. All right? It's been a minute since I've been to school, so I might not be going to make. All right, so being that that's the case, then when we correlate the fact that the people that we come across just on Clubhouse and the experiences of they've shared, the cultural exchange of what we shared, we cannot say that everybody came from Africa off the theory of what we've been given.
Correct.
The whole outer Africa theory does not fit the narrative of majority of the people that we call melanated in America. And I would rather say Aboriginal, like you just said, because really a lot of us really are, because that would be the proper term. And
Yes.
Malcolm X said that a long time ago. You know what
Right.
I mean? I mean, again, once again, the civil rights was the Indian civil rights movement. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
So at that time when Malcolm X was talking about, and Martin Luther King, that whole movement, were they not calling us Indians at that time? Marching in the streets?
We were Indians.
I would say, were they talking about us? Right?
Yes. I mean, Rosa Parks was a part of her lineage is those Porch Creek Indians that Martin Luther King was being brought into. Rosa Parks is a member of that Creek Nation.
So that's what I'm trying to say to people.
Yeah.
We don't understand what the movement was even started about. Like, how did these people twist it and say that we was African Americans? And Martin Luther King, we celebrate every year, was originally in 1963 in his book talked about how he started this. He got a call to go to Alabama to represent these people, right?
Yes.
Because of how they were being discriminated against in Alabama, right?
Yes.
This is the story of how the whole civil rights movement even comes together. Is dealing with dark-skinned Native Indians.
Right.
Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, so
right.
Where's the African part come in at? Civil right part. Like, this is not dealing with, like, and why is, like, we've been hoodwinked. God damn it. We've been
divide and conquer.
We've been
they made you believe
bamboozled. We've been, because, man, Creek, like you said, and we know Creek mean Muskegee. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
All right, so, and Muskegee could be a lot of different tribes if we deal with the Southeast and the Mississippian culture.
It can be a triracial identification, absolutely.
Okay, now.
And they own slaves.
And they had their own slaves because of wars with other colonies and other tribes.
They were
and because of those wars, those people had to end up working for them. Yes. Correct?
They were slave
owners. Right. I thought people thought that wasn't what happened, but that's what happened. But I think, if we had a military and we fight you, your people that we didn't kill are going to definitely be working for us. Last time I checked how war works.
Just realistically, we just can't romanticize the fact and think that, we were these kindred spirits with Native Americans who embraced us. Nah. To be considered the 5 civilized tribes, it means that you are adapting the ways of the white man and they own slaves. So we got to deal with that reality.
That's the real. Like we had suits on and everything, holding slaves and all ourselves.
Yes.
Making them work the fields and everything ourselves in our territories.
Yes.
That's a fact, right?
And they took the bag and they removed the darker element of legitimate Creek members. They took the bag and sold us out.
You know what's funny? Before I came in tonight, someone was telling a story about the dude Anderson, the first black slave master. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Johnson. Yeah, Anthony Johnson. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Anthony Johnson actually set precedent. He's the first, slave dude to actually want to hold another black man as a slave, right? And then another white man, man, huh?
For life.
For life. Yeah. He's the first. Yeah. It was a black man that was like, nigga, I ain't letting you go. And it was a white man that told the black man, like, bruh, you already did your 7 years in servitude, you know what I'm saying? And did your servitude, go ahead and bounce. Yeah, nigga, you free. You don't got to do no more. Go do your thing. And the man went to court. A black man, like, hold up, wait a second. I'm going to court. And actually made it precedent that I can hold a slave for life. And then the white man said, oh, that black man went to court and said he going to hold him for life. So now the white man following suit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to try to hold these motherfuckers as long as I can. Based off that court document. Case law, right? Case law. You know about case law. Did he not set precedent? Didn't
he did indeed. And that slave that was held forever name was John Punch. And John Punch is the ancestor of Barack Obama.
Bars. Say that again. Because a lot of people don't know that.
John Punch is that person that Anthony Johnson won to keep as a slave forever. John Punch is the ancestor of Barack Obama through his white mother.
Thank you. I mean, bro, boy, you just drop bars right there, boy. You drop bars. You just drop. You know what I mean? Like, ooh. drop my.
Yeah. Pull it up. Yeah, you can pull
You
it
can
up
do the
live time.
research.
Yeah.
Cause I know we gonna talk facts on this podcast. I ain't gonna get on here and bullshit with nobody. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna be calling my phone late night or stalking me. I ain't into that shit. You know what I'm saying? We ain't doing none of that over here. So, Ish, man. I mean, when it comes to let's talk about right now, present. Cause we talked about some history. I think we gave a little foundational for our conversation tonight. And I'm gonna bring you back again. You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to tap into what you got going on right now. Maxine Waters, if I may, can I bring that up? What you got going on and the Aboriginal thing that we're talking about, what's happening right now? Can we talk about that real quick?
Oh yes, sir. Absolutely. It's on the website itself. It has the full meeting of the Honorable Maxine Waters, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, as we had a town hall meeting with her, and she's very instrumental in working along with Black Native Americans to make sure that we are starting to rectify the injustice that's taking place. That particular meeting was with Congresswoman Waters. First Tribe Aboriginal was a guest of the Creek Indians, the Creek Freedmen, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the chief of the Cherokee Nation was on the town hall meeting. And we had to ask the questions of what is Congress going to do with the injustice of what's facing us as Black Native people. Those Oklahoma tribes are getting billions and billions of dollars and not honoring the treaties that they made with the Black freedmen tribes. So why are they entitled to get these billions on one hand, but yet not respecting the treaties that they've made with the Black natives? An
Right.
example of that again was just this week, 5 days ago. 5 days ago,
Five.
because of the trial that was won by McGirt, who was a Black Creek Indian.
Right.
He was a Creek
Creek.
freedman.
Excuse me.
Because
Yep.
of the McGirt case, the Creek Indians of Oklahoma are no longer the Creek Indians, and they have now changed their name fully over to the Muskogee Nation.
Woo!
And they say that it's rooted in the victory of the McGirt case 5 days ago. So, in other words, they're
Bars.
using the freedmen for their own advantage, but yet again, they won't even make the Black freedmen a part of the Creek or the Muskogee Nation. It's racism, and it will not be tolerated.
And the crazy part is, though, this whole damn time they were running around saying they was Creek, right?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? And that's why, I had to bring you on this podcast. And I want you to keep up to date when it comes to this Aboriginal conversation because I know you up to pace on it. And I can really I'm trying to build a network on this podcast to talk about these things. And I want people that I know that's moving the needle on it. You know what I'm saying? Some people think we just talk about it and we ain't trying to do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? And you're one of the people I've come across that's have a historical point of view from a lot of angles. You know what I'm saying? You're not new to this. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call you true to this because you've evolved and you see what's going on currently, what needs to be and what needs to be addressed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to be able to have those conversations with the Congress people and understand that, listen, when we are invited to go to Washington, D.C., these are the things that we're going to talk about. We have to get into these rooms. We have to be able to work and implement these laws for the betterment of our people. No different than we have the international attorneys and the domestic attorneys that are assisting us in the United Nations. We have to be able to go to New York City, deal with the United Nations with an equal seat at the table, no different than everyone else. So we can't just sit there and waste our time on social media going back and forth on immature things.
No, I agree with you completely. I mean, it's crazy though. I keep it real. Because I look at it from both sides, right? And that's why this movement has so much legs. See what I'm saying? Because you have people like me and you just having this conversation historically that can go back. And then we can say, from a historical standpoint, because what we into historical debating and just knowing trying to find the real source of what they call the African, actually, right?
Right.
In Egypt and Kemet, ancient Egypt, all those terms we can get into, right?
Right.
But even those people will be called Aboriginals at some point.
Exactly.
You see what's so crazy? How
Because it means first. It means first. You have
you
to
see
be
what
able
I'm
to
saying,
deal
y'all?
with the first people. Exactly.
Like it means the first people, no matter what. Like no, that's why I don't like the term. I'd rather be called an Aboriginal
Yes, sir.
based off the science of mankind than
Yes,
being
sir.
called an African
Right.
in the theory of coming from a monkey. That's
Yes.
where that African theory go back to, right?
That's what they claim. Exactly. That's
If
their
you say
theory
you're
of
African, you
evolution.
go back to the
Right.
monkey, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm just letting you know that. And if somebody mad at me for that, it's your problem. I don't do bananas.
And I think that realistically, we have to understand that the movement of what we're doing is representing our Aboriginal history. It's not an anti-African movement. So
Right.
I don't even harp on that particular element of it, because again, we have to have the mature conversations of understanding the fact that there was a lot of mixtures of what took place. There was a
Definitely.
lot of relabeling and reclassifications that took place. We have the documentation of them proving that they took entire Native American tribes and renamed them Africans. We have the proof. So, in
Right.
other words, once we have that documentation, we know that you were calling indigenous people Africans. And we even have the tribal people that admit that you were calling them Africans illegally. So now that we have all the documentation, there's certain titles that you can't apply to us because it doesn't apply to us. But what we're going to do is we're going to self-define and self-determination. We're going to apply that to define our name, and we're going to move out on that.
And Aboriginal American, you feel good about that term? Aboriginal American
I
going
do,
forward?
because yes, Aboriginal means means of, original, and the landmass of America. We are of the original people of the Americas. I embrace that freely.
Me too. Yeah, what y'all feel about that?
Yes, sir. It makes sense to me.
Me too. I mean, I'm on that. Like on a political level, on a mass level, I don't want to be foundational Black American. That whole ADOS thing, I ain't with that really. You know what I'm saying? Because it still falls into the. And then listen again, like you said, I ain't got no issues with the whole understanding that Africans came over and mixed in. You know, the Mali Empire came in the 1300s and mixed in. That came up there. That's the Aztec Empire right there, mixed right there. That's the whole. You know what I mean? When you understand the history of this shit, you know what I'm saying? We know that people came across and mixed, but there was the same people mixing at the same time. Really, it was just different time frames. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
you went
cultures.
to the law dictionaries and it shows you what the Aboriginal is, one of the describers of the indigenous populations. You pulled it up yourself. So that applies to us, and it's reserved for us. And we can prove that we can make you and that you can't make us. We can prove that.
Right. There's no going against scientifically who came first. You know what I mean? On like you just said, dark and melanated situations. They can't. There's no going around that scientifically. So that's why I go off Aboriginal, because anybody can say, "Oh, I'm Native too." Yeah, your people might have came here before American too, but they ain't got nothing to do with being first, though. You know what I mean? Because even in the Bible, Torah and the Quran, Aramaic is linked to all those languages, and the word abar means to cross over, or coming from beyond, and the word Rashon means first.
Correct.
Rashoni means first.
Yes.
So even in the biblical sense, it tells you who came first.
Sure.
And we fit that description.
Yeah.
From biblical references to Aboriginal title references to cultural references, we cross the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? To self-identify in this manner as an Aboriginal American.
There's no expiration date on your Aboriginal identity. I do want to let you know that the Autonomous Party, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have me on. I invite again your listeners to come to firsttribenation.com and to just become a member. And I'm always here to service you. I want to thank you again so much, Brother Mac and the Autonomous Party. Thank you, family.
Yo, appreciate you for the time tonight, man. It was a great vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will bring you back on. We know we're going again. I want to keep up to date what you're doing. You know what I mean, with the First Tribe, and I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I'm an Aboriginal American on a political level. I don't give a damn. You're not gonna see me walking around. I tell people, see, I'm saying it right now. You know what I'm saying? I got Muskegee, Catawba, all that mixed in too. But on a political level, on how I'm gonna claim to be as a unit, as people, we got to self-identify. So on a political level, I'm an Aboriginal American. I'm not gonna call myself anything else on a general term. I don't want you to call me African American. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to call me black either, because in law, I know that black in law is a Negro, and I don't have no standing with that. But as an Aboriginal American, it's already proven with title of land that we have first.
I agree.
We are the ones that have claim to the land, and we are of the land, and the tribes that originally set up these things. You know what I'm saying? So, again, man, we're going to be out of here for the night, but I had to give you that platform for the night to give this to us. So I thank you back, brother. It's an equal exchange. Nah,
yes,
man, I'll see you in the clubhouse sometime this week.
You got it, King. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace out.
And love, man.
Peace and love.
Yo, we out of here tonight, yo. I appreciate Ishmeal Bay for vibing with us. The Autonomous Party, don't forget, each and every Sunday, 8 to 11 o'clock, live on Music Media Lounge. Tap in. If you can tap in, go to www.theautonomousparty.com. We live on the Autonomous Party, Music Media Lounge, each and every Sunday right here. Facebook, you can get this. You can go back and watch it again. Mixcloud, you get the audio. We out of here. Peace and love.